So with arrays, you learned how to keep a whole bunch of related data together, but one problem with an array is that what if you want to keep a whole bunch of related data together that isn't of the same data type? Because an array won't allow you to do that. And there's a way to do that, and that is using structures, which is what this lesson is about. Firstly, a structure is simply a container that has a whole bunch of data inside of it. You can just declare, you can have an int in it, or a string, or a char, or whatever data type you have access to, and it's just kind of like a storage for all of that data. So in order to make a structure, you just say struct, and then the name of whatever you want to create the structure, and then an open bracket, and you can see it already added a closing bracket with a semicolon after it. And inside the structure, you just declare whatever contents you want. So we're going to take a look at how to make a structure for describing a person. So we'll say their name, their age, their gender, their height, which we will do in feet but in decimal form, and then you could say their eye color and their hair color. So that is all you really need to do to build a struct. Except in order to use the struct, you can't just start saying person and then using it, because what you're actually doing when you create a struct is you're creating a new data type. So like you're creating something like an int or a string, and so in order to use that, you need to actually declare a variable using that as your data type. So we could say person, a person. And so after that point, you can start using a person as you would a structure, and so forth. You can also declare a structure just by putting the name of the variable you want to use right after the structure declaration. But I usually do it this way, so I'll go with that. To use the structure, you have to use something called a delimiter. So you type the name of your variable out first, and then you put a dot. And you can already see Eclipse is pulling up for me all the different components of the structure, and then you just type whatever component that is. So say this person's name is Bob, because I am not creative. And then they're 20 years. Bob is 20 years old. Bob is a male name. The average person is about 5'8" or 5 2/3 feet. Eye color, say he has brown eyes. And hair color, say his hair is black. So, and that is just, and you after you use your delimiter, you just simply assign it and use it like you normally would any other variable. And this goes for accessing it as well. So let's say let's add up here string query. So let's just say we have the user ask what they want to know about this person. So while query is not equal to exit. So let's say cout. What do you want to know about a person name? And I'm gonna finish writing this here, but I won't show it because that would take too much time. So this is just something basic that spits out the information the user asks for until the user wants to exit. If you have any problem with the logic here, I would recommend going back to lessons, Chapter 1, Lessons 2 and 4. So what this does is it just creates a structure, fills the structure, and then asks the user about what they want to know, what's in the structure. So let's build it. run it. Do you want to know about Bob? So you can ask what his age is. He's 20 years old. What his gender is. What his height is. What color his eyes are. And what hair color he has. So that is pretty much all there is to structures. I can show off a couple more advanced things you could do with it. For example, you could have a structure within a structure, so long as you declare the inner structure first. So let's say we want to move all the color, all the color stuff about a person into a structure. So we could say string eyes, string hair, and then just inside the structure, you declare it like you would any other structure. So you could say color colors, and then you just have to make sure you go through and change everything. Build it and run it. Do you want to know about Bob? Eyes, his brown eyes, and hair, his black hair. And then connecting back to the last lesson, you can also have an array of structures. Say we want to look at 5 people. For the sake of being quick, I'm not going to have them all be different people. They're all going to be identical, but you get the point. X is less than 5. X plus plus. And what, just the only consideration you have to make when you are making an array of structures is that you know you're putting the array index in the right spot, which is after the first reference to the structure, and before the delimiter. So right there. And you could also have an array within a structure too. You just have to make sure, again, you're putting your index in the right spot, which would be after whatever delimited part of the structure you're looking at. And so, once again, I'm just going through and adding array indices, so I'm going to skip ahead to where I build it. Okay, and let's save and build. And run. So which person do you want to know about? Let's go with the 5th person. Do you want to know about Bob? What's his age? And so, that is all there really is to structures. Next chapter, which is what you're moving on to now, is Advanced C++. But don't let that intimidate you. It's actually quite fun. And the first lesson we have there is pointers.